Hey guys, I'm Deepthi and in this video we're going to be talking about my yearly makeup favorites. These are the makeup products I discovered, I loved in the year 2023, and even if I haven't used it a ton, I feel like I need to mention it in this video because these were really good and outstanding. Maybe some of these are repetitive from the previous years as well, because if I like something, it's hard for me to put that product down. And throughout 2023, I must say, like for the first half of the year, I think I pretty much used and tried out makeup just here in the studio because I was pregnant for the first half, then delivered the baby, and then postpartum and all of that. I didn't really try out a lot of makeup, but when I started to dig into my makeup, starting from like September, October, I started to like use makeup pretty much every single day, started to play around with it a lot more and started to love it a lot more. So some of these have been like my daily favorite products. So let's get started with the video. Firstly, for primer, I have to talk to you guys about this. This is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. Now, every time I want my makeup to stay in place, not move around too much, and also look a little bit glowy, this is the primer that I have been reaching out for. Now, I suggested the Mars Hydro Grip or Glow Clock Primer as an alternative for this, and a lot of you guys disagreed with me on that video, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your feedback. The reason I mentioned that could be a dupe is because it is a little bit of a long wearing primer, but certainly not as long wearing as this one is, and it does add a really nice glow to my makeup, but that is for a fraction of the cost. I'm not sure if it's still available or it's discontinued, but this one is certainly way better than all of those primers, not denying that, but that is a really good alternative if you like didn't want to spend so much. This is pricey, okay? This is for 1,200 or more, and you can buy it on buy one get one, but still it's a little bit of a pricey product, but the glow it gives your makeup is surreal, and the way this adheres on to your makeup is also really good. So I absolutely love this particular primer. And another primer that I discovered because I was trying out a couple of products from this brand, but all of those were a disappointment, but this one turned out to be a really nice one. This is the Type Overdue Plumping Primer. So this has sort of like a lilac tint to it, okay? And this I feel like is like the Becca's Backlight priming filter, where it does have that lavender tint to it, and it also kind of cancels out the darkness on your face. It is a little bit brightening. You do need a little more of this primer for that hydrating effect, but I find it to be a really nice hydrating primer for my skin. So this is something I tend to use quite a lot when I feel like I want my makeup to look like it's not too drying on my skin. And of course, my trusted primer, this one is the Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth Primer. This has been in my favorite list constantly because this is a primer I use so much. You can see how dented this tube is. This is a replacement for a lot of different high-end primers in my opinion, even over the Too Faced Hangover RX Primer. I feel like this one is so much more better. It just makes your skin look really nice, dewy and plump, especially for the winter months. Absolutely loved it. So this is pretty much all of like the dewy primers that I've been using. And for pore filling primer, I've been using the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. I can't seem to find it in this mess that I've created right here, but that was the primer that I used a lot for like pore filling, just towards this part of my skin. I pretty much used that primer. And then for color corrector, I used the Sigma Spectrum Color Correcting Duo. This is in the shade Medium Dark. This was actually sent to me, and I was like almost, borderline putting this in my disappointing pile, and I was like, okay, this shade is definitely gonna suit me. So anyways, I decided, okay, let me just take it out and try it out once. And can you see the amount I've used up in this color corrector? I cannot seem to put this one down. It is something I use pretty much every single day. I'm surprised I've not hit pan on this. This is the shade I use for like color correcting actually. This is too bright for me. This is the shade that works perfectly. It's not something that's too bright. It's not something that is too dark. And it's also not something that's too light. It works really well for color correction, and I can pair a nice light coverage concealer as well on top of it, something that is even a little bit more brightening as well, and it doesn't look grey, ashy, nothing like that. And this one doesn't dry my under eye area out, so it works out really well for my skin tone. And also another color correcting stick I got is from Bobbi Brown. This one is the skin corrector in the shade Deep Peach. This is a little bit deeper for my skin tone. I think I could have tried out the shade Peach, I'm not sure, or maybe I should have tried out something in that pot formulation, because I find this one a little bit drying and also a little bit dark, okay? But it works out really well. It's way better than most of the orange color correctors I've tried out. So this is really nice for me, and I can use just a little bit of a concealer and get away with it, and not too much of concealing is required when I'm using these products, and it also keeps the darkness at bay. I just find this to be a little bit drying for my under eye area, this particular formulation. I got this one from Tira Beauty for 2,400, and that's the reason I actually even picked it up. If it was for full price, I wouldn't, because it is for 3,000 rupees, and I cannot see myself paying 3,450 or something for a color corrector. It's just way too much for me. It's 3,100. So yeah, that's 2,400 itself is a lot for the quantity you get. You get like 3 grams of product. And then coming to foundations, I did discover a lot of amazing foundations this particular year, and some of them I cannot seem to stop using. This is one such foundation. I don't know if I discovered this last year or the year before that, but this is the year that I've been trying this one out so much. This one is the Keto Daily Dewy Serum Foundation. This one I have it in the shade Almond Beige. I feel like Almond Beige is a tad too, like, it's a little bit darker for my skin tone, but I'm not sure which other shade would match. Maybe the shade 02 would be too light, so I just stick to the shade 03. This I really like the consistency of this foundation. It has sort of like a little bit of like a you know, thicker, not very runny, not very thick consistency, and on the face it blends seamlessly. It has a really nice sort of satin finish. It feels like that on the skin. It's not too matte, it's not too dewy. It has sort of like a, you know, a blurring finish, and it just looks really nice for day-to-day usage. And it's not something that looks extremely matte, not extremely cakey, not too much out there. It's not like you have a lot of makeup on, and it's also not something that looks very subtle as well. So it's something like I can build on it but keep it to light medium coverage or sort of medium coverage, and it's really nice on the skin. So this is something you can use on a daily basis, and these are the kind of products I have been reaching out for a lot, because as I mentioned, I am using makeup pretty much every single day, and this is one such really nice foundation to use on a daily basis. You can blend it with your fingers, a sponge, or a brush. I ideally prefer blending most of my foundations with a brush, except if it's very thick. That's the only time I use a sponge. So this is a really nice foundation for day-to-day usage. So the next one is also from Keto. This one I have used so much, and I love the packaging of this one. Just look at it. It looks so cute and like chubby, and it has a really nice big applicator. This one is the Keto pH lip oil. Okay, so this is a pH adaptive lip oil, so it adapts to the natural pH of your lip, and it will give you a color, a custom color, but pretty much looks pink on every single skin tone I've seen this on. But I love this because it's very lightweight, it's very hydrating, and the tint that it leaves on my lips, it's something that is very long lasting. Most of the times if you have a lip oil, like when you're eating something or something, it just fades away, but this one leaves a beautiful stain behind, and it just looks really nice on the lips. And it's something that I don't really have to you know, take a lot of effort to do. And sometimes when I don't even want to use like a lip stain, I just want a lip oil, I want something that's hydrating, but I want to be out the door, this is the one that I reach out for. This is something you can also use on your cheek. It gives a really nice dewy finish on the cheek as well, but I pretty much used this one throughout last year for my lips, and I really love this. I've used this one up quite a bit, like because there's the applicator, you can't really make out. Really nice big applicator, and this is how much of the product I've used. It is constantly with me everywhere I go. I really love the lip tint that I get with this one. And also from Keto, their liquid lipstick in the shade Nutmeg Nude. This is one of their best selling shades for a reason, and it looks beautiful. It's a nice warm toned brown shade. This would look good on every single skin tone I've seen this on. It'll look really nice and flattering on you, irrespective of your skin tone. It's very nice and pigmented, very lightweight, comfortable formulation, very long lasting as well. So certainly one of the best products I've tried out from Keto. Still trying out a lot of products from Keto, but these always stay with me, and I am so happy I got to discover a brand from India that does such high quality products, such good products, and these feel so nice on skin. You know, the foundation, their lip oil, liquid lipsticks, their lipsticks, all of these feel really nice on the lips. So also speaking of Keto, I also have their bullet lipsticks, which I want to get a get it out of the way. So these are the lipsticks that I've constantly been reaching out for. I've mentioned this quite a few times. This one is in the shade Nude Garnet, which is a beautiful nude shade for my skin tone. It's a really nice pigmented lipstick formulation. So these lipsticks, you know, they go on comfortable, creamy matte. I mean, they do transfer a bit here and there, and that's okay for a bullet lipstick, but they don't really move away from your lips, and they stay on your lips for a really long time. And even like by the end of the day, they are on my lips. They don't really suck the moisture out of your lips. They feel really nice and comfortable and non-drying, and the shades are amazing from this range. I really hope that Kiro actually expands the shade range in this bullet lipstick, because I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of different shades. If you have very sensitive lips, you have flaky lips, you have very dry lips, and you wanted to try out a lipstick formulation that's also long lasting and you also get really good color selection, try this out. You wouldn't be disappointed in this at all. I also have the shade called Spicy Cinnamon, which is something I talked about quite a bit, used up quite a bit. This one is Spicy Cinnamon, so it is a really nice warm brown shade, a deeper warm brown shade, perfect for people of medium tan and deeper skin tone. And off late I've been using the shade Luna Berry, which is a very different, unique shade. So it has a little bit of purple, a little bit of deep mauve, dusty burgundy purple hints to it, and it's a very beautiful shade to use on its own, or you can also mix it in up with your other lipstick shades. It's something I can actually even wear with this kind of an outfit, so it's a beautiful mixing lipstick as well. So those are all the products I want to talk to you guys from Kiro. I didn't want to like let go of it. Of course, the Kiro Botanico mascara is something that I always have in my bag, in my bathroom, because I'm always like using that constantly to get ready. The reason I like that is because it gives me really good length, volume, and also it doesn't really like tingle or burn my eyes, and it doesn't really like shed my lashes as well in the long run. So I've used those mascaras for a really long time as well, and I've emptied a tube of that completely, and I'm almost onto my second tube. Another like skin tint that I really loved is the Smashbox Halo Healthy Glow All-in-One Tinted Moisturizer. I have used this for the year 2022, 2023. This is a really nice product if you want to use it on the go. It's what I have on my face right now as well. It's a really nice medium coverage tinted moisturizer. Yeah, you heard that right. It's not like that very sheer tinted moisturizer where you don't really get any coverage. So what is the point of using it even? It's not like that. It is something that just gives you a really nice light medium coverage, and it's a very blendable product. It does oxidize quite a bit, so just keep that in mind. So I prefer to like try out the shade light medium maybe once I'm done with this. The shade medium is a little too dark for my skin tone, like it's post the oxidation and all of that, but this is a very nice product. Irrespective of the weather, it just holds in place so well. I have used this during like humid, hot climate. Dubai was hot in September, but this one just held up so well, and I was not even like thinking of carrying a powder. I'm not a powder person. Like up until recently, now I've started to experiment with a lot of powder. Back in the day, I used to never set my makeup with powder as well, and I still prefer it that way. This stayed in place, so you can try it through like different weather conditions. And then I recently picked up this one, I think not very recently, in September or October. This one is the MAC Studio Fix Tech Cream to Powder Foundation, but I have been using this one so much because it's so easy to use and the shade match is great for me. This is in the shade NC35 and this is how it looks like. It has sort of like creamy consistency and it goes on sort of powdered, like a powder, like cream to powder finish on your skin. It does look a little bit powdery, so I wouldn't recommend these kind of products for very dry weathers or dry skin type. But if you want it to be quick on the go and you have like normal combination oily skin type, you would love this. It's so easy to use it. It gives you beautiful finish, beautiful coverage, and I can say that I can build that to about light medium coverage, and that's how much I would build it up to, and it looks so good on the skin. And then also from the high-end foundation range, I have the Nude Sticks foundation. You can get this for around 2,400 or something on discount. I have this one in the shade 06, I believe, which, because it's not a very pigmented foundation, I can get away with this particular shade. I can go down a shade, but because like I mentioned, it's not very pigmented, you can't really see a contrast or a shade shift on my skin. I love this one. It has a really nice dewy finish, something you can wear on a daily basis. It doesn't look like you have a lot of makeup on, but it looks like, you know, you look polished, you look put together. That's how beautiful this one looks, and I love this foundation, and it's been my go-to. And I have also a blush which I've cut open here in this Nude Sticks container. This is the Blue Heaven blush in the shade Subtle Nude. This was part of my project pan. I did finish it up, but I cut it open to see that there's still a lot of blush left. So every now and then I do tend to use it up like that. But then I would prefer like squeezing it out, but it doesn't come out anymore. It's a very like thick formulation. So next up, moving on to concealers, I have a handful of them to talk to you guys about. The first one is the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum. I love this concealer serum. I love this concealer because it's very lightweight, it's very spreadable, and it doesn't give you a crazy amount of coverage. It's light medium, so that's the reason I actually prefer color correcting with this kind of a concealer. But it just looks so nice underneath the eyes. It doesn't dry it out all the more, and it's not like clinging on to anything. It's not like caking it up, so I love this. And another one is the Pat McGrath Sublime Skin Fetish Concealer. I got my perfect shade recently during a Nykaa haul. This is what the shade looks like. It is a little bit like peachy and peachy golden, but I feel like it works really well for me for my no makeup days. And I could try out the shade LM13, I think, but yeah, for like my no makeup days, this is a really nice concealer which works in correcting as well as concealing, and it's a really nice creamy medium high coverage concealer. Doesn't like fade away in a whiff, and also looks really nice and like even underneath the eyes, and that's what I look for. I mean, there will be a little bit of like creasing, and we're all human, and there are lines underneath the eyes, but it's not something that exaggerates it, and it doesn't make it look like I have things that don't even exist, you know. So it's not something that just sucks out the moisture from my under eye area. It's not like that. I also use it for all over my face sometimes, just as like a foundation. And then another concealer is the Huda Beauty 4 Filter Concealer. I have this one in the shade Granola 4.5G, which is also a pretty good match for my skin tone. I really like this as well. This is the concealer I actually have today. It's a very long wearing concealer, very nice and creamy, hydrating, good medium high coverage, not something that fades away really fast, not something that creases a lot. So really like this concealer, and perfect. Like these are the concealers you could try out if you have very dry under eye area. And then where is my trusty dusty concealer? Yeah, this is my trusty dusty concealer. This one is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Sand. This is my go-to concealer for like when I'm like, okay, today I'm just having a bad moment with my makeup and like my concealer is not staying in place, and how do I fix it quickly? How do I be out the door quickly and make my concealer like have full coverage but last really well throughout the day, not looking very dry? This is a concealer I reach out for. It's also something you can use all over your face if you have like the perfect shade match. And yeah, you get 15 ml of product. Now if you have very dry skin or dry patches, dry under eye area, I don't think you'll like this concealer. So every single time I mention this is my absolute favorite concealer, a lot of you guys are like, oh, maybe you haven't tried out a lot of concealers because I can't believe this is your favorite. Then how bad is your choice? Come on, you know by now that makeup is very subjective. So if I like something doesn't mean you have to come and trash me for liking what I like. Irrespective of what you're going to say, I'm still going to like this concealer, isn't it? Like I'm still going to use it. And this is something I use a lot. It's been my favorites for literally like 3 years now. So yeah, one of my favorite concealers. And then a concealer palette which you can travel with, which this should suffice. This one is the MAC concealer palette. I have this one in the shade Medium Deep. I pretty much like resort to using these shades, these two shades. This one is NW40 and this one is NC42. So I mix and match these two shades. NC40 is also a pretty good match if you want like a little bit of a brightening under eye area and you have a good color corrector, you have a contour shade. So this is pretty much all you would need if you are traveling with a concealer. But like if I was like if I'm not packing too much and I just wanted one concealer in my purse, this is also something I've reached out for, used a lot. I'm not sure why I haven't hit pan on this. You can see the state of this concealer. This is in the shade NC42 again. This one is the MAC Studio Finish Concealer. This is also a pretty good concealer I use for day-to-day usage. Like it looks like I have nothing on my face when I use this one. It's really great for spot concealing and like concealing like the darkness I have post shaving intensely for so many years. And then a powder to set all of this down, the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Powder in the shade Banana. This is my favorite powder again for a really long time. I feel like it's not that extremely matte drying powder. It has a subtle luminous sort of finish. It's not like it's luminous. It's something that has that soft finish. It has, I feel like, the right texture for people with dry skin. So it can set your makeup in place without making it look extremely dry, and it just stays in place for a really long time. So I love this. I also did recently pick up the Easy Bake and Snatch powder in the shade Banana Bread, but I think this is a finishing powder and not a setting powder as such. Another finishing powder that is of great use for me is the Pat McGrath Sublime Fetish powder. I have this one in the shade medium. So the reason I like this is, see, like, you've concealed all of this a long time ago, but my concealer and my makeup is still looking so good. That's the reason these are my ride or die products. But if you just wanted to, like, you know, fix things in place and just make it look a little bit nicer, this has a lot of kickback, and also it's a very soft powder. It will break. So just keep that in mind. Most products from Pat McGrath just break quickly. So if you feel like your concealer is not looking that great, you can just use this and this, just like it's a finishing powder, you know. And if you feel like your makeup is starting to look a little different and maybe like wearing apart, this is a nice finishing powder, not a setting powder again, if I'm right. Yeah. So it's not something that is going to keep your makeup in place. For that, you can use like a loose powder like that, like a setting powder. But this one is like a finishing powder. And it just makes your makeup look great. Once you're done with your entire makeup, you can just use this to, like, with a powder brush or something, and just like set everything in place, and it'll look nice and like seamless. And this is not the right brush to use that with. This is the Real Techniques 242 brush. This is a very viral brush, and I have my thoughts on this. I'm like a 50-50 about it. I thought I wouldn't need it at all, but then I'm using it a lot more because the concealer blends so seamlessly with that. But it's such a wispy brush. Can you believe that? And then I have my Rimmel Stay Matte pressed powder. This one is the translucent pressed powder. This is a really nice setting powder, and it just makes your makeup look really nice and smooth, and it keeps it in place as well. And this is something I feel like it's really affordable, and you can get it for like around 150 rupees or something, and you can carry it in your bag. If you feel like you're getting really oily and you wanted to set your makeup, it'll set it. Okay, and then moving on to a couple of different blushes. We have quite a few blushes to talk about. So the one that I have on my face right now, my absolute favorite, this is the Swiss Beauty Lip and Cheek Macron in the shade Macron, and this is a beautiful shade of blush. Just look at that. It works for people of deeper skin tone as well, and it just shows up really nicely. It is a mauvey cool tone sort of a blush, which looks really nice on my skin tone. I absolutely love it. And even on the lips, it's not extremely like sheeny. It's not a very like glossy looking formulation, so it actually stays really well on the lips as well. So it's a nice two-in-one kind of a product, and beautiful shade, quite long lasting. And then that's what I have on my face right now. I topped it off with a powder blush. This one is the Daily Forever 52 Cheek Pop blush in the shade Sandy 011. Okay, a beautiful blush, nude shade of blush. Again, it's not something that washes me out, and it's not something that is too matte, not too powdery. It has a beautiful like satin matte finish, and it's not sheeny. It's not something that has a lot of shimmer in it, but it looks beautiful on the skin, and it is quite pigmented. So they do have a wide variety of shade selection in these blushes, but this is the one that I've reached out for non-stop. It's what I have right now. Again, topped off that cream blush with a powder brush. And I recently tried out this Gush Beauty squishy blush in the shade Flushed Pink. Again, a very nice, beautiful shade of blush. It makes you look like you're flushing. It's a beautiful shade of pink. It's not too bright, and it has a sort of like dewy finish on the skin. I really like it. I like the packaging as well. I find it to be quite convenient. And then something that I have used so much. This one is the Daily Forever 52 blush in the shade 05. Online, I think it's called Very Victoria. Something I reach out for irrespective of the occasion. And if there is a blush that has to fetch you compliments, I think it is this blush. It's a very nice nude shade of blush, and it's very easy to blend these blushes, and they just look so nice on the skin, and it's like a nice thick moussey formulation. Just looks so good and blends in no time. Very easy to blend. That's why I really like this. I mean, a lot of you guys wouldn't even believe that this was one of my favorite blushes for like everyday use. This one is a Mama Earth Nourishing Natural Lip, Cheek and Eye Tint, and this is in the shade, I think, Cocoa Nude. Look at this shade. Okay, it's a little bit stiffer, like especially now because the weather is a little cold, but this is the shade and it's actually very beautiful, and you can see the kind of shades that I've actually been loving on my skin. I feel like these shades look really nice. It's not too pink, it's not too dark or mauve, it's just right in between, and it looks so good. Like, you can use this on your lips as well, but I have loved using that on the cheek, and it is so blendable. It's beautiful to use. Like, I didn't expect to love it so much that it would make way into my everyday makeup drawer, and it's something that I use pretty much every single day. And then moving on to bronzers, my Huda Beauty is Tantour is something I reach out for a lot. This is a nice underpainting sort of a product. It's very pigmented, so I like to use it way before I use my foundation or skin tints or anything. You could try out the shade Light Medium if you are around my skin tone. And then the PAC Take Cover Concealer in the shade Coffee Bean. It's a beautiful shade of like contour. It's not something that's too ashy, it's not something that's too warm tone, and it's also very light and very spreadable product. It's very easy to blend it, and that's the reason I love this concealer as a contour shade. And of late, something I've been reaching out for so much and I cannot stop using this is the Rare Beauty bronzer in the shade Always Sunny. It's a beautiful shade of bronzer for my skin tone. Again, not too orange, not too dark, and not too cool toned as well, so it works out really well for me. It's what I have right now. I love it. And of course, my Hoola Caramel bronzer is something I reach out for so much. It's something I've topped off that cream bronzer with, and I really love this shade. It's not too orange or red, and again, it adds this beautiful amount of warmth to my skin, and yeah, it's a very nice product. It's also what I have actually on my crease and everything. It's a nice product to use like for multiple purposes. And then for highlighter, this is the only highlighter you would need in your collection if you're looking for something that looks nice and glowy, nice and wet on your skin. This is the Nykaa Strobe and Glow Liquid Highlighter. I feel like this beats a lot of high-end highlighters, and it's such a nice product. It's thick. You know, you can't really drop it off like this. You don't expect all of that, but it's a nice thick product, so it's very easy to work with. Little bit, just a tiny drop of it is enough for your face. Apply it on the high points of your cheek, and you will thank me later for this. It looks natural on the skin. You can't really see a lot of shimmer, like spread, chunky glitter, nothing. Just a beautiful sheen. Ooh, look at that beauty. And then moving on to eyes. Yes, eyes is a very important category. Now we have this eyeshadow palette. This one is the Praush Showstopper eyeshadow palette, Praush Beauty. This is a palette that they launched recently. This is expensive. This is for 3,300, but you can always find it on discount for about like 2,500 or something. And look at this shade selection in this. It's not very unique, but it is, I want to say it is unique, okay? Because I don't really have a lot of affordable eyeshadow palettes. I'm not calling this affordable, by the way, but I don't really have a lot of affordable beauty brands that have this kind of color scheme. And I do have Huda Beauty eyeshadow palettes, but again, not this color scheme, Pat McGrath, no. So the reason I really like this is because you have really nice buttery matte shades that are pigmented and they show up on my eyelid. That's a great thing. And sometimes, like, the kind of state of mind I am in, I don't even remember to conceal my eyelid, and I just straight away go in with these eyeshadows and they still show up. That's a very big deal, okay? So it would show up on pigmented eyes, and these are softly pressed, beautiful matte shades that blend like a dream. So if you are a beginner, you know, often you'll be stuck with eyeshadows that are so stiff that it takes forever to blend it, and that just adds on to your woes as a beginner because it just makes your eye makeup look patchy, non-blended, and it just makes you look like a beginner. It doesn't look seamless and put together, but that doesn't happen with these matte shades. And these shimmer shades, these have a nice like shift to it, like a duochrome shift. They have a nice shimmery like shade selection that's not too dry. So what happens with even Huda Beauty eyeshadow palettes is, especially during the winter and over time, they become super dry and you don't really get that sheen, that foily looking shimmers on your eyelid. But this one doesn't do that, and that's the reason I really love these eyeshadows. And it's winter time right now, right? So they haven't dried down and they have that soft foily finish, and this is what I have on my eyelid today as well, and topped off with another eyeshadow which I will mention in just a bit. But this is the eyeshadow palette that I was going for. So again, I'm wearing a pink outfit, so I have something that is pink toned, I have something that is warm toned, I have something that is a little bit like champagne whitish kind of a shade for like my cool tone outfits. So it's something that pretty much, you know, suffices as an eyeshadow palette. Like you just have this one eyeshadow palette and you're pretty much good to go. The only thing I wish that they had was a lighter sort of a transition, like a lighter brown shade of transition and a darker brown shade, like a straight up brown shade. This is more of a red tone brown, but more of a darker brown shade. It would just make it perfect. This black is pigmented black. Like if you wanted to use it to line your eyelid or anything, you can do that. From this brand, the sponge, this is their Celestial makeup sponge. It's something I use a lot when I'm getting ready because this gives you a really nice blend and it's really nice, soft and squishy. So it's a really nice sponge as well. But over all of these products, try out this eyeshadow palette. You wouldn't be disappointed in it at all. At all. No ways. And what I topped off my eye look today is from Mars Cosmetics. This one is their duochrome eyeshadow and this is in the shade Canadian Gleam. It's what I have sort of like on the outer corner, but most part of the eye look is this. So these duochrome eyeshadows from Mars is amazing. They had a super hit. And then another eyeshadow palette is this Swiss Beauty Luster eyeshadow, and this has 4 eyeshadows in this. This is in the variant 04 Shimmer and Shine, and I don't really like this pressed glitters. I'm not a glitter person, okay? I don't really like pressed glitters. I feel like they just fall out on me and create a mess. But these are super nice shimmer shades that have that soft, nice reflex, and they show up really nicely on the eyelid. Like, just look at that. Just look at that sheen. So I can actually top it off. I already have quite a lot of eyeshadow, but I can top it off a little bit. So definitely do try out these Swiss Beauty eyeshadow quads. They're amazing. And another affordable eyeshadow palette that every single time I have like a mink colored outfit and a more cool tone look that I want to go for, this is the one that I reach out for. This is the Rimmel Self Love eyeshadow palette. This is in the variant 402. I think they have a 401. I didn't like that. I liked 402. It's really nice cool toned eyeshadow palette, and all of these shades pretty much except this, which is too cool tone for my liking. All of these work pretty well for my skin tone, and these two shades in combination are beautiful. The only mascara I pretty much reached out for is the Swiss Beauty mascara. This is a Crazed Duo mascara. This you get exclusively on purple.com. So you have a lengthening end and a volumizing end, and oh my god, it is so good. It's what I have right now. It's waterproof, it's long lasting, it gives you really good length and volume. It's a great dupe for the Huda Beauty mascara even. Then of course I have quite a few lipsticks that I have to talk to you guys about. This one is a Swiss Beauty lip crayon in the shade Coffee. Now a lot of you mentioned that they have changed up this particular shade. I am very sorry about that, and I was not aware until a lot of you guys mentioned. The one that I have is more like a cool tone shade, but right now it's more warm toned, I heard. So I will try finding a dupe for this particular shade and like similar shades so that you can pick that up. And then the Anastasia lipsticks, the bullet lipsticks in the shade Rogue and Brandy. I am surprised you can't find these in India because these are one of the best lipsticks I've tried out. Like very pigmented, very long wearing. And then I use and abuse my Lakme liquid lipstick in the shade Molten, no, what is this called? Mocha Shot. This is my everyday lipstick pretty much. It's a very nice warm brown shade and it would look really good for people of like medium tan skin tones as well. Beautiful shade. If you're feeling like lipsticks are washing you out, try this out. And then a lipstick formula that I have really loved is this. This one is the NYX Lip Lingerie liquid lipsticks. These are very long wearing. They pretty much stay in place, don't really transfer as much, don't really move around as much, and they can be slightly drying, so just keep that in mind. Especially the shade Sizzlin', I feel like is a little bit more drying on my lips than the shade Straps Off. Straps Off is a little deeper shade which is not as drying, or it doesn't look as drying on my lips as the shade Sizzlin' does. And then a MAC lipstick which I've felt like I was not paying attention to it as much. This one is the MAC lipstick in the shade Retro, which is a really nice warm pink shade. Okay, speaking of MAC lipsticks, these Powder Kiss liquid lipsticks, I love them. I never thought I love it as much when they initially launched it, because I found them to be like pigmented enough, but these are really nice if you have a lip liner underneath, or you have a lipstick and that lipstick is giving you like a dry line on your lips, like the rim of your lips. Just use this. It gives you that beautiful velvety blurring finish on your lips, and they look so good. I have the shade More the Merrier right now on my lips. So the shades that I use pretty much are Over the Top, Make Love to the Camera, and More the Merrier. Make Love to the Camera is a deep red shade. You can mix this up with pretty much any red, okay? If you feel like that red is not enough, it's just fading away, it just looks dry, use this one. Then a Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. I feel like my most used Charlotte Tilbury lipstick, in fact, and the one that is my favorite. This one is in the shade So 90s. It's a beautiful shade. For a lip gloss, my e.l.f. lip plumping gloss is something that is my constant. It's something I use over a lip balm. Like, I feel like if my lips are very dry and no lip balm is enough, this is the one that I reach out for. It has a nice plumping, juicy effect on my lips. And then the lip stain that took over for me, like my heart, is this. This one is the LA Girl Glossy Lip Stain. I have this in two shades, Myth and Divine. These are so beautiful, you guys. They feel so nice and lightweight on the lips, and if they fade away, they give you the most long-lasting tint, and it looks so beautiful and even on the lips, and they look so plush. I love them. I did try out the Romand lasting lip tints, but I feel like I like the LA Girl one over that. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the makeup products that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. So do let me know in the comments down below your favorite makeup products for the year 2023. What were the ones that you used a lot, didn't put down, kept using a lot, and you want me to try it out as well? Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.